Matt Leon in Philadelphia. Sir, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
Yeah, well, I know that we don't usually get into this, but, obviously you spent a lot of time up here. What was your thought when you heard about USC and UCLA?
On one hand, it kind of sounds like patently absurd, just like because of what you grew up with, like what conferences were, and part of it was like regional rivalry and stuff like that. But on the other hand, we're just heading towards a point where it's just going to be kind of three giant conferences at the top level, maybe even just two, and this giant schism with everyone else. So, like I said, my initial was like, you start to see people put on Twitter like maps of all the teams, and you've got USC and UCLA out here, and it's just more. We're just moving closer and closer to the point where I think specifically just kind of football kind of creates its own universe.
Yeah, no, it is. Between the SEC and the Big Ten, they've created a universe. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get to what's going on down in Philly. Let's start with the Phillies and Kyle Schwarber and what he's been doing at the plate. The average may not be great, but what's he been doing at the plate to compensate for right now the absence of Bryce Harper?
Hitting the ball out of the ballpark a heck of a lot. He's had one of the top performances through half a season when it comes to hitting home runs that any Philly has ever had. He's been somebody they've been able to count on. Like you said, the average, but it was really, really low at one point, kind of artificially low, and it's taken a lot of work to get it up. I think I just saw this morning he's at 226 after having 3 hits last night. But it's really been amazing. And the home runs he's hitting, like these are not win-addled fly balls that are paint scraping, at a hitter-friendly park like Citizens Bank Park. He's hitting moonshots, and it has gone a long way to kind of helping ease the burden of not having Bryce Harper. Also calling up Derek Hall, the youngster. Well, he's not that young for a guy making his debut, 27, 28 years old. But he's been able to step in, provide power, provide some run production. And they've been able so far to kind of hold the fort down without Harper.
It was a nice story. Mark Capella was able to finally ascend to the major leagues. What was your thought when he finally got his chance?
Oh, I think it was great. Well, like you said, it's besides the baseball, just the human part of it. A guy who had all the pressure on the world as number 1 overall pick. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. He walks away. And then you kind of get the feeling it's kind of like that exhale and, hey, let's just try playing baseball for fun. And lo and behold, that he's able to stay healthy, that talent comes through. And he's thrown the ball well. He's been put in very low leverage situations, but he's performed every time he's been out there. And it'll be interesting to see because there's been a lot of talk with the Phillies, and it's kind of focused on Schwarber and it's focused on the offense.
Right. Suddenly,
a bullpen that was a disaster is completely lights out top to bottom. I don't know. Once again, like a lot of things, it seems to correspond with Joe Girardi getting fired.
Yeah.
It is really amazing, kind of the light switch flipping that it has been on many fronts. But now, pretty much anybody they bring out of the bullpen, they are getting very, very good results. And Appel, like I said, it's been in low leverage situations, but he's another guy that's been put out there and put zeros up every time he's been out there.
Yeah, and look, let's give credit where credit's due. He is a definition of perseverance that now is getting his shot, and everybody knew when he was coming up he was talented. The Phillies right now are sitting, at least they're over 500. You mentioned indirectly Robbie Thomson. And the Phillies right now are a half game out of, I think they're are they half game out of the last wild card? They're right there, 3.5
Probably because of the loss last night, yeah.
3.5 out of the last wild card behind San Diego. But when you sit there and you look at the job Robbie Thompson's done, handling the bullpen and so forth, what's he done?
You know what? I've talked a lot he lets some of the younger guys play. He's had a more steady lineup. It's hard to point to a lot of things he's done differently. It just must be something about his approach. The team really seems to respond to him. I do think a lot of this is, I shouldn't say a lot, a part of the success they're having now is guys kind of reverting back to the mean. A lot of guys that struggled, now the pendulum has swung back in the other way, and it's kind of happened on multiple fronts. Like the bullpen, I didn't like a lot of the things Girardi did, but a lot of guys didn't produce when they were given chances under Girardi, and those same guys are producing now when they're given chances. I don't know, does a guy pitching in the sixth inning as opposed to the seventh inning, does that make the difference between him giving up 4 runs and no runs? I don't know, but you're seeing a lot of guys who got opportunities that were inconsistent at best, now all of a sudden are very consistent. But that must say something. There must be a steadying hand there. And Thomson was always kind of looked at as a guy who was into development, who really worked with guys. And maybe you're seeing that with some of the younger guys on the roster, too, who he's giving chances to. And like mentioned, Derek Hall, they call him up. He's been in the lineup every game, I think, since he's been called up. Bryson Stott, the average still is low. They keep giving Moniak chances. I don't know if Mickey Moniak would be up here if he wasn't a former number 1 overall pick. He seems to struggle with anything off speed at the plate. Alec Boehm's been in there on a regular basis. Guys seem to respond. There just seems to be, you can't have kind of the complete switch in a different direction, almost pointed to the day of the manager change, and not take out of that guys are responding to one person a lot better than they did to the other.
With all of this said, how anxious is the city for the Eagles to open training camp?
You know how it is. I mean, that's especially with the moves the Eagles have made and the excitement that is behind them. On paper, they look like a legitimate team to be feared in the NFC. So I think the one thing is the Phillies have taken advantage here of, kind of this time when everybody's kind of treading water until training camp. They've played good baseball. They've played exciting baseball, and they've managed to, I think, kind of reel people in to pay more attention instead of, to your point, just kind of crossing off the days on the calendar until the Eagles start. But regardless of that, we all know where the attention will go once the Eagles start.
Do you pay any attention at all to the Sixers Summer League team?
To the Summer League, no. I can't. Back when it was, Ben Simmons and stuff like that, you would watch to see. But no. But there are a lot of people that are all in on the Summer League, and God bless them. But it's just something I just can't get into.
Yeah. All right, my friend. I appreciate it very much. They're all waiting for the NovaCare to open. All right. So
Absolutely.
Matt, thanks so much. Appreciate you as always.
Always a pleasure. Take care.